Okay, so we are in the Holy Roman Empire. We just dealt with Otto the First, having some issues with the Pope. Yeah, some power struggles. Oh, these next two guys, it's gonna hit the fan. Okay, let me get my coffee. Okay, Frederick the First, Barbarossa, he was called. Okay, what you're gonna see on these pages, I don't know if I talked about it on the Otto pages. You'll see there, like right here. Oh shoot, you'll see their life right here. Okay. And then you'll see whenever they were elected to be Holy Roman Empire. Again, that's what the R. Oh my gosh, I swear I'm not hitting the button. That is what the R dot means. Ruled. That's when they ruled. Okie dokie. So, move my big old head so you can see this picture. Ooh, look at that. That's a cool little double-headed black eagle. We'll see that more later. It's a big deal symbol. Okay, now we can move pages. Frederick. Again, you gotta love this here. I'll just leave this here for a second. We'll look at the art. You gotta love this medieval art. I just love it. Do you notice Frederick has red hair? We talked about this actually last year when we dealt with, who was it? The Plantagenet family in AP World. Um, y'all always point out our redheads, but yeah, he is another redhead. And Barbarossa actually like translates to or whatever, Redbeard. Okay, so I don't know, but that's Friedrich Barbarossa. Okay, so Frederick. Now look at the dates. We'll go back. Okay, he doesn't become Holy Roman Emperor until 1155. Okie dokie, 1155. So he's going to start like being noticed because of his chivalry and it's down here, but that's okay. It's the second one down here, what I'm talking about right now, and his appearance. He was really, 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 really tall. He was considered attractive. I know you're looking at this picture going, what? But remember, medieval art, it's just special art, okay? It's very childlike, it's very basic, it's just special. So, anyway, he's considered, like I said, very attractive, very tall. He was a man's man. Yeah. He was fun and he's the guy who's like, what's up? And like, hey, how's it going? Right. So he's cool. People liked him. So first of all, he's just kind of the cool noble walking around in the Holy Roman Empire. And then he decides to go on the, oh, I can't move my head, Second Crusade. Okay. Now, look at the dates. This is all before he becomes Holy Roman Emperor. But that's part, okay. I thought that was a typo right there, but it's not. Good morning. That is all part of how he gets his support from the elector from the electors, yeah, to become Holy Roman Emperor. Okay, is because he's cool and he's like, again, he's like attractive. He's like what men wanted to be. And then he also goes to fight on the Second Crusade. Now, the Christians lose the Second Crusade, okay, but it still was seen as like this great, honorable thing to go and do. So, that's good. Oh, let me move this. I'm sorry. When he does get elected, okay? And so I don't remember, he was born in 22. Yeah, I thought he was in his 30s. So when he does get elected to be Holy Roman Emperor, he immediately starts changing some things. He says, oh, okay, we need a fair law code. Do you remember from AP World? Fair law code. It doesn't mean fair like we think of fair in today's sense. A fair law code back then was this idea that whatever punishments the peasants are going to get for something, the nobles are going to get it too. So if you, I don't know, if you steal something and a peasant would, I don't know, I'm just making this up, get their hand chopped off, a noble will too. If a peasant's going to get, what's the word, tortured, a noble will too. Okay. When you're seeing kings do that, I'm not being rude to them. And maybe they just loved their peasants, but most of the time it's not because they love their peasants. It's because they're trying to get their nobles in line. They're trying to show power over their nobles. Okay. This is a way to keep his nobility in line. Okay. But the peasants love him for it. Now, that fair law code is not going to last after him. Okay. It goes right back to the way it was before, where peasants have awful not crimes. I'm sorry, something in my eye. Where peasants have awful punishments. Nobles just get a slap on the wrist. But at least he tried. Yeah, he tried. And I have something in my eye, y'all. And he's also going to really, really, really start pushing for trade, especially with some of the Eastern peoples. Like the Magyars we talked about last time, the Hungarians, going into the Slavic areas. He's going to start trying, Muslims over there in the East, well, Southeast, whatever, but he's going to start really pushing for trade. That's always good. Yeah. Even in the West, but really he wants to like go new places. Okay. So he's already gaining a pretty good, I don't know, support system. And then he gets asked by a pope to go to Italy. He's asked by a pope to go to Italy, just like Otto the First was, because there are some people in Italy who are threatening the pope's political power in Italy. So he goes to fight. Guys, he's called 6 different times to go and fight for popes. 6 different times. Okay, that's not cool. That's not cool. And these are the different popes. I just put them here. You don't need to know them necessarily, but just in case you wanted to know. 6 different times. All these different popes keep going, can you help? Because people are invading us. And Frederick is like, dude, you're a spiritual leader. You shouldn't be a political leader. That is going to be the argument, the fight, the butting heads for the next, oh my gosh, forever. 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 How much power and what power does the Pope have? Who's in charge? Is the Pope in charge of the king? Is the king in charge? Where does all of that lie? Does the king and emperor really have, what's the word, secular power on earth, and the Pope has spiritual? Should the Pope even have secular power? Those are all going to be issues that are not going away. And Frederick is going to be like, dude, you should not have a kingdom. You should not be in charge only of spiritual matters. So he will eventually pull away from popes. Now, it doesn't mean he suddenly, starts, I don't know, anti-Christian, anti-pope. It doesn't mean he's doing that. But he does start pulling away a little bit, okay? He is not at their beck and call anymore. Now, is that going to cause him some issues? Uh-huh. It's really going to cause the next emperors some issues. But it definitely sets a precedent, okay? We already saw Otto have issues with the Pope, and now Frederick has issues with like 4 different popes all calling him to go to war. And he's like, stop! And then he drowns. Okay. I can't get my head out of the way. Well, you should have this by now. If not, rewind it and pause it. He drowns. Frederick is, I don't know, going across the river. And there's all these different stories about how he drowns. Did his horse buck him off? Was there a current that swept him away? There's one story that like his armor was so heavy that it sank him, whatever, caused him to sink and he couldn't get up. Of course, there's the murder. Duh. There's always the murder theory. Whether he died being murdered or not. I mean, he's definitely made some people angry by pulling away from the Pope. That's possible. It could also be an accident. Who knows? Who cares? He drowns. This is a more modern picture of him. Okay. That big old beard. It is not medieval. You should immediately notice that. It's not a medieval style. I mean, it's not a medieval painting. It's definitely from later, but okay. After him, we're going to move to Frederick. It's Friedrich for real, but we say Frederick over here. We're going to move to Frederick II Hohenstaufen. He's part of the Hohenstaufen family. Let me show you this again. I don't think I talked about it. I'm going to find it. Do you see this name right here? It's kind of scary. OMB dot means born or began. Sorry. Um, that is a family name. I didn't mention it when I was on this page. I'm sorry. The family name, Hohenstaufen. That's a name, yeah? That's just their last name. So it's Frederick Hohenstaufen. Really, it was Friedrich Hohenstaufen. But still, whatever. Okay? So that's the name of this family. That's the name of this dynasty that rules in, what's it called? Holy Roman Empire for a while. Now, the next Holy Roman Emperor that we're going to talk about. Oh, it's my boy, Friedrich II Hohenstaufen. Frederick II isn't actually Frederick the First's son. It's Frederick the First grandson. There's Henry. Henry's in between there. But so you have, look at his birthday. Okay. 1194. He doesn't become Holy Roman Emperor until 1220. Okay. This is a picture of him being crowned. Again, our medieval art. We love it. I actually do. I think it's awesome. But not awesome because it's good art. Just awesome because it's like, it's just. So, kiddos, let's go. Frederick II. When Frederick II was like 3, maybe 4, 3, 3, 3. Yeah, 3. Okay, I was like, I don't know if I have it on the slide or not. Y'all, he's 3. He's made the king of Sicily, the island of Sicily, and South Italy. That's the kingdom called Naples. Do you remember we talked about the Vandals moving in? Okay, the barbarian tribe, the Vandals. The Vandals are the ones that are going to basically create Naples. He becomes king of that. What? That's weird. He's 3. What can a 3-year-old do as a king? What? You remember from AP World, hopefully, you have to have a regent. If you're going to be a kid ruling, somebody's going to have to help you. If you don't know, a regent, it's just somebody who helps you rule. Sometimes it's a noble. Sometimes it's a family member, an uncle, or I don't know, a grandfather or something. Sometimes it could be your mother. Okay. In this case, and I would say in a whole lot of cases, we'll see this in France too. The regent is going to be a religious figure, a bishop, a cardinal. Okay. In this situation, it's our favorite. Good morning, Pope Innocent the Third. Do you remember we talked about Pope Innocent the Third in AP World? He has the sweetest name, Innocent. He was so corrupt. He was so bad. This was a bad boy. And he is this kid's regent. Whew. Basically, he's controlling this kid like 100%. He has his little papal states, and then he's also controlling South Italy because he's basically ruling, again, through this kid. Pope Innocent. Whew. As Frederick II grows up, he doesn't really trust Pope Innocent. I mean, I wouldn't either, truly. Okay. Pope Innocent, y'all, he's a bad dude, and he's one of our popes. He's one of the what is it? The 10 big evil popes or bad popes or whatever they call him. But he's a bad dude. Okay. And over time, as Frederick is growing up underneath the tutelage of Pope Innocent II, third, sorry, he's like, dude, you are not hearing from God. You are not a spiritual person at all. And so he kind of starts separating himself, distancing himself from the popes. Okay, all the popes, he's going to distance himself from them. He's like, yeah. Now, Frederick II, he's a smart dude, okay? Remember in the medieval period, my sweet Europeans aren't so educated, but there is education happening. Absolutely. There are schools that monks are leading. Well, I don't want to say schools, but like monks are teaching noble kids. We do have a university starting to pop up, and one pops up here in Naples. Frederick II opens it. He also says, y'all, these trial by ordeals are stupid. Trial by ordeal, we talked about this when we talked about like the witch hunts and stuff in the Germanys. That's where like they decide if you're a witch by throwing you in the water and seeing if you drown or float, or they would have you hold like hot coals, okay, to see if you burned or not. What? He says that is dumb. It is. We're getting rid of that, according to him. Now, again, every Holy Roman Emperor, it's like when Frederick I does the Fair Law Code. He does a Fair Law Code, but then it goes away as the next Holy Roman Emperor comes in. Okay. So Frederick II does this like, no more trial by ordeals in my kingdom of Naples and Sicily. Not happening. But everywhere else, it is still happening. Okay. Whenever he becomes the Holy Roman Emperor, he's like, no trial by ordeals. That's stupid. But again, right after him, the next emperor just brings it back. Or people just still do it in their little pockets of the Holy Roman Empire, and the emperor never knows. But at least he's on the right track, not emotionally. What's it called? Intellectually. Yeah. All right. He also promises to go on a crusade. He just has too much going on right now. He is part of this big deal Hohenstaufen family. I do think that he probably, and this is just total Sherilyn opinion, okay? I do think he probably would have been crowned even without promising to go on the Fifth Crusade. But that is part of what, I don't know, the next pope uses to crown him. Okay. It's kind of like with Queen Elizabeth, if you remember from AP World, where they were like, you have to get married. And she's like, oh, on my honor, I promise. And she never does. I don't know if he really just had too much going on or whatever. But I'm going to move my head. He doesn't actually go on the Fifth Crusade. He does have a lot going on. Look at our dates. I just put my head right there, but look at our dates. 1200s. I know it's been a long time. That's the Mongolians. The Mongolians are moving across Asia at this point. I know it feels so weird to think Mongolians in Europe, but do you remember they did go all the way to Europe? They start trade with like the Russian peoples, although Russia doesn't exist yet, but the Russian peoples. All this stuff connects. We're in the 1200s. He's fighting off the Mongolian hordes trying to get into Europe. So he is a little bit busy. Yeah. But he doesn't ever go on the Fifth Crusade. The Pope uses the ever threatening excommunication if he doesn't go. He's like, all right. And y'all, honestly, I'm sure he wasn't that like, all right. I'm sure that he was like, I promise, I'll do another crusade. I promise. I'm sure that he was doing that. Good morning. But he doesn't ever go. It's not happening. Good morning. Look at his empire. Okay. Let me move my head. Here, I'll go up here because we're not really going to talk about the Teutonic areas. So he has the Kingdom of Naples down here, South Italy. Okay. He will be crowned the Holy Roman Empire Emperor up here. Okay. Awesome. He will be in charge of Teutonic lands up here. We don't really deal with that. It's just another set of areas. And look at this. Wait, what? That's Israel. What? Okay, it's not really Israel because Israel doesn't exist yet, but how does he get to be the king down there? King of what? Jerusalem? What? Okay, especially if he doesn't go on a crusade. Well, smart man. Smart man. He marries a queen in Jerusalem. He said, "Oh, I can't go on a crusade because I'm fighting the Mongolians, but I will marry a Jewish woman." Now, that makes him the king of Jerusalem. Now, it's not part of the Holy Roman Empire, okay? It's weird when you start looking at in the medieval period titles and what people own, and we'll especially look at this, and I know it's a long time in the future, but we'll especially look at this whenever we look at um Maria Theresa's like title in Austria. It's crazy. He's the king of Naples. He's the king of Jerusalem. Okay. He's not the king up here, if I remember right. He's like the, I don't know, I could be wrong. I don't remember, the duke or something. But then he's the emperor of this. So people's titles get crazy in the medieval period. When we talk about Charles V, we actually talked about him in World, but we'll bring him up again. He's like the king of, well, no, the emperor of Spain, but he also has, hello, he just has all kinds of stuff. Do you want your quiz? So,
the worst, like 2 days of sickness I've ever.
oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So anyway, titles get crazy, but he's the king of Jerusalem, the king of Naples, and the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. So it's just all kinds of weird and jumbled. But he's smart about that because he marries that Jewish princess queen. Good morning. He marries that Jewish queen to get him control of Jerusalem. Now, technically, the Muslims still own all the area around it, and really, they own it. But now, that is like enough. Another pope, a third pope now, I think it's a third pope, is like, dude, you have to go on a crusade. You were crowned with the promise that you would. You have to. So he runs off for the sixth crusade, right? No, he doesn't. He keeps going, oh, I have this issue, I have this issue, I have this issue. And again, maybe he really did have all these issues. Or maybe his upbringing with Pope Innocent III, he just doesn't believe that these men are hearing from God telling them to go to war. I don't know. But he won't go. So the Pope excommunicates him. Oh my gosh, one-way ticket to hell. He cannot go to heaven. What is he going to do? He agrees to go. He said, okay, fine. Jerks, I'll go. And the Pope's like, all right, good. You are no longer going to hell. You're going to heaven now. Y'all, he doesn't go fight. He does a diplomatic mission. Diplomatic. That means discussion, talking, making a deal with. Okay. He goes and talks with the Muslims who are in charge, and he makes a deal. And this is awesome. Look at that. He will have control of Jerusalem for about 10 years. Christians can go on all their pilgrimages. Christians can, I don't know, let me move this. Christians can do all of their stuff in Jerusalem. Everything's good for about 10 years. What's wrong with that? Peaceful. You can just set it right here. Thank you. Did you get 100?
Yeah.
Yeah. He does a peaceful with the Muslims. Bye. See you later. It's all good. Peaceful. The Pope is like, what? The Pope is ticked off. Y'all. Oh. Y'all. Frederick is having all kinds of Pope issues. All kinds of Pope. issues. The Pope is starting to, I don't know, talk bad about him all over the place. He's getting nobles against him. He's getting all like other kings against him. He's just causing some issues. To us today, it seems so petty and so stupid. But back then, I mean, that's the seat of power, man. Who has the power? This is a power struggle, and who is in that seat? Is it the Pope or is it the Emperor? And that is the question. I don't know. So Frederick just gets mad and kidnaps a whole bunch of bishops. What? He just rounds up a whole bunch of bishops and holds them. What? He then takes his military to the city of Rome, basically threatening to attack. They totally surround the city of Rome. The Pope is mad, and the Pope is like, I'm excommunicating you again. You are one-way ticket to hell. It's not changing. Even though he encircled the city of Rome, there isn't actually any fighting. Well, there's going to be little skirmishes because people are people, but there's no like full-scale war. Okay. And then the Pope dies. So it's like, okay, whatever. We now have a new Pope yet again. This time, this Pope actually declares Frederick II to be the Antichrist. In the Bible, the idea of the Antichrist is like Satan. It's not really Satan, but the idea is it's like Satan in human form. He's controlled by Satan. He is anti God, the Antichrist. Okay. He starts like preaching and telling people that Frederick II is the Antichrist. He also basically deposes him as Holy Roman Emperor. He tells everybody he is no longer the emperor. Well, who's going to tell Frederick that? Nobody's going to be like, Frederick is a strong ruler. Most of the Holy Roman Empire, like nobles and princes in the area, even though the popes have been trying to like badmouth him and stuff, they kind of like him. Good morning. They kind of like him because he is questioning that papal power. He is saying, you're spiritual, which y'all, whether they want to admit it or not, that's what nobles believed back then. So okay, sorry. So even though Frederick is getting deposed by the Pope, told that he's excommunicated, the majority of the people in the Holy Roman Empire liked him. And look how long he rules. If we go back here, you do your math. That's not a short reign, 30 years. Not at all. He keeps the Holy Roman Empire fairly strong, even in the midst of all of this drama and all of these wars that he's having, but not the Crusades. He stays away from that, but he actually does pretty well for himself. But he will face issues with the Pope forever. And then he just dies. And there's nothing mysterious about his death. It is a natural death. All right. We are stopping there. Bye, guys.